Well, folks, there it is. The old Cub Cadet snow cab is about 90% complete. I just need to add the plexiglass on each side and on the back. Got the light switch panel set up in there, all wired into these nice LEDs, and then also that little emergency light up there. Got an LED backup light on it. Got this battery box on the back. Adds more cold cranking amps to the old Cub. Put a car battery in there. So it's going to be a nice little addition for winter time, snow blowing and plowing. Pretty simple to build, really. So if any of you folks are interested, send me a message. Send me a message and maybe I can help you out. I've got some drawings. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Well, folks, I was out last night test driving this thing, and when I brought it back in here, I noticed a little oil around that on that cylinder wall there, on those fins. So looks like I may have a blown head gasket on this old Cub. I'm gonna pop the head off that real quick and check it out. I know when I rebuilt it a while back, the gasket that came with it was kind of like a cheap paper thing, so I'll take a look and see what I got going under there. Well, folks, there it is. I pulled that head off of there, and looks like I just got a lot of carbon buildup in this thing. I don't know, and maybe maybe I need to torque the head down again. Gasket's damaged. It's kind of a metal gasket. I guess I was thinking of a different gasket when I mentioned that. Anyway, I'll clean this thing up real good and then just torque that head back down. It was running okay and everything, but just saw this little leak that was leaking out of here. This side, these head bolts were kind of loose on the, not they just didn't feel like they were up to torque, so I guess I'll torque them down again and we'll call it good. Okay folks, I got this carbon cleaned off of the piston and this cylinder head off the valves as much as I could. Actually this is the cylinder head, I got that cleaned up too. And then you're supposed to put a new head gasket on when you put these back together, but I'm going to have to give it, I'm going to order one, but put it back together with this older one, then torque it down. This is these when you take these apart, it's a good idea to kind of keep tabs on where all your bolts went. What I did is I just laid them all out here on a board in kind of the order they go. I'll clean those up a little bit too as well. And then I'll show you the torque diagram too. You're supposed to start with, I believe, these two bolts. This one first, this one second. There's a pattern of torquing them down. I'll get there in a minute. Also here folks, I found the old head gasket from when I rebuilt put a new piston in a while back. And it looks like it's got some of the same, I've cleaned this one up because I'm going to reuse that. But this whole one looks like it's got some of the same areas that it was getting hot. You can see here this is discolored on this side. Same here, so I could have a warped head on that K321 Kohler. So I guess I can always get another one to see. I'll just have to monitor this situation and see if it can still give me an issue when I bolt it back down. But that's kind of interesting. Anybody has any ideas on that, you can let me know. That'd be great. Well folks, here's the diagram out of the service manual for the torque on that, torquing that head back down. It's a K321 here. It's calling for 25 to 30 foot-pounds. And then here's the torque sequence, they call it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. That's the bolt. So first one to torque is this, and what I'm going to do is snug them all down equally and then get the torque wrench and then torque them down according to this sequence. Okay folks, catch you in a few. Taking another look at this older head gasket, this is actually where the exhaust goes out, so I'm assuming that gets a little hotter than the other areas of that cylinder. So the exhaust comes out of the engine right here. So I'm assuming that's why this is consistent with the other head gasket, just getting hotter on that exhaust side. Okay. Alright, here we go. I've got the head bolts snugged down here in accordance to this. You can see this. I don't know if it's showing up, but see if I can get this thing to focus. I'm not sure if that's showing up or not, but anyhow, you can see that pattern, that bolt pattern, and then you see the head here, that's the direction. And then there's numbers on there. Let me point them out just in case this isn't focusing. Number 1. There, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Anyway, hopefully that's focusing. My eyes sure aren't focusing to see it, but anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and torque those down. It's calling for 25 to 30 foot-pounds. Got my handy dandy torque wrench. I've already torqued them down to 20, so now I'm just going to go ahead and give it the final touch. But anyway, well, hopefully this will help out on that. And it's just still kind of a mystery what's going on. There's definitely some leakage there, so. Alright folks, catch you in a few. Okay, I've got it all torqued down, that head, and it's a good idea while you've got the shroud pulled off to clean out these fins. This is how the engine cools itself. There's that flywheel back there is kind of creates the fan sensation, blows up across here and out the front, that hot air. That's why they call it air cooled versus water cooled, like your car radiator, your car engine. But it's a good idea to clean up around here if you can while this got the shroud pulled off. Okay. One thing I want to point out, folks, is these long studs that are coming out of the cast iron block. They have bolts, or they've got nuts and washers and these spacers that go on here. This spacer is to support the shroud that goes over this. One thing you want to do is make sure you put the nuts down here, torque the nuts down here, rather than putting the spacer on and putting the nut on top of this and torquing it down. So you want to make sure you've got contact with the nut and the large washer on directly on the head. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. There it is, folks, all back together, purring like a kitten. Check out these lights real quick. I'll show you in the dark too. Yeah, you can't really tell right there. I'll take it outside later.